In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to play against the Scandinavian Defense. And when we play this move e4 and c d5, which according to Lead Chess is the third most popular move in online chess for black against e4. So we definitely got to know what to do against it. I'm recommending this move of knight to c3. Now, most players capture on d5, which by the way plays right into black's prep. You can also play the move e5, but I really don't recommend that practically against the move of c5 there. It feels like we're playing against a French defense, but our position's even worse. And we could also play knight f3 with the Tennyson Gambit. Now, you know, I've seen players have fun with the Tennyson Gambit, but I'm personally not going to go recommend that you play it at least, you know, in a serious tournament or, you know, really try to build a serious repertoire around it, because the Tennyson Gambit is pretty unsound at the end of the day if your opponent has studied for it. And I myself have content on how to play against it. So all that to say, I really do like this move of knight to c3, and I've actually built a whole repertoire out of this position here. Now, it might seem slow, it might seem timid, but there's some very fun gambits, some very fun attacking chess that we get coming out of this opening. And me as well as COASTLAND Creative partnered together, which is nothing new, by the way. Every single thumbnail, every single video that you see designed on this channel, edited on this channel, all that kind of stuff was done by COASTLAND Creative. But COASTLAND Creative and I just came together and made an over 4-hour course on how to play against the Scandinavian Defense with the move of knight c3. And if you're interested in a 30% off discount code, all you got to do, plug in the discount code below, knight c3-2024, and you will receive 30% off of the course, only good for the rest of November in 2024. So you got the rest of November in 2024 to plug in that discount code and get 30% off on the course. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope you get a lot out of it. Over 4 hours of content, 4 chapters, 26 PGNs, 10 instructive games, one of which I'm actually going to be showing you in this video at the end of it, just to give you a little sneak peek there. But knight c3, I mean, this is just a great opening. I play it exclusively now, and I've really been having a lot of fun with it. And again, this is rare, right? My job here on this channel, or at least, I mean, I guess no one told me to do this, but the job that I gave myself is to find openings that are strong in the practical sense, that are dangerous, but that not a lot of people play, right? And I've really combined some interesting ideas. Now, the most popular move against knight c3 in online chess, played nearly half of the time. I mean, nearly half of black's games, they do this. Black playing this move upon to d4. Now, if we do see this, we're trying to play a Nimzowitsch Defense Kennedy Variation type style, but from the white pieces. And oftentimes we get the same exact setup, but up a tempo. And that's great for us. We're going to swing this knight over to the king side very quickly. If they're going to let us put a bishop on c4, we're going to do it. By the way, these are the most popular moves that you're seeing from black: pawn to d4, e5, c5. We're going to put our bishop there, plant it down. And in the course, I recommend this move pawn to d3, and we can get some super fun, aggressive attacking chess on the king side. Later on, we're going to play knight f3, castle king side, look to bring that knight to f5. I mean, so much fun attacking chess. And we have instructive games in the course covering that kind of thing. But I will say, too, this move of knight f3. d3 performs very well. I mean, I'm telling you guys, black really struggles in these types of positions, but knight f3 does even better than d3. I think a big reason for that is that often black plays this mistake of knight f6. That's the most popular move that we see, and it's a big mistake. Now, black could play h5. That's why I don't recommend it in the course per se. But how many players are going to play h5? Not a lot. Not a lot. Especially, you know, depending on your elo, your level of play, all that kind of stuff. I mean, h5 is hard to find, especially in those quicker time controls, no matter what level you're at. So, I mean, I guess if you're Hikaru or Carlsen, then maybe I'm not speaking to you, but you get the point. Knight f3. So black often plays knight f6. If they do this, we're just winning the game, guys. We're winning. Knight g5. This pawn's going to fall. Black's done. Black's going down material, and we have a better game. Now, what if we see this move of d takes e4? Well, in the course, I cover this move of knight takes e4. If you want to play that, nothing wrong with that at all. Your opponent plays a Scandinavian Defense. They're in a position they probably haven't seen much, and you're in a position to see all the time. Hard to complain about that. We also cover this move upon to f3, although I personally don't love it because black could very easily play e5, bishop c5, and it feels like I'm in a bad version of the King's Gambit. And by bad version, I just mean the regular version, because the King's Gambit is trash. But all that to say, right, I recommend this move upon to d3. Now, this is the Dunce-Perronnet Gambit. Really what this is a reversed Charlick Gambit. So we're playing a Charlick Gambit from the white side, and we cover a lot of different moves here. But if black, you know, decides to not take on d3, right? There's responses that we cover in the course there. If they do take on d3, which according to the engine is the best move, we capture back with the bishop. The whole plan here is that we're looking to bring our queen to e2, knight to f3, castle queenside fast, and we're going to have a rook aim towards that queen very quickly. There's so much fun, trappy, tricky chess. And if we don't get some kind of trap or trick in the opening, then that's okay. We still have a huge edge in development. And again, black struggles against this kind of line from white. So that's actually, you know, at the end of this video, we're going to be covering, or really I'm going to be showing you a game in the course following this position here. And it's just so much fun from the white side, so much fun. So if you see d4, we swing the knight over, so much fun attacking chess we cover in the course. Same with taking. Now, this move knight f6, this is only played 6% of the time. So there's a big drop off there. Big drop off, right? I mean, again, if black wants to push the pawn, that's played a lot, right? 47% of the time. If black wants to take on e4, that's played 36% of the time. Knight f6 only played 6% of the time. Now, in this case, you have a couple of different options, which again, we cover in the course. You can take on d5 and play bishop c4. That's a good way to play it. Just putting pressure on that knight. And by the way, if black does take, queen f3 is a good move there. Queen f3 is a good move. Okay, now if a move like e6, we'll take with the d-pawn, keep developing quickly, we're up in development, we have a great game. If we see this knight try to save itself, like let's say knight to a4, well, that's just not a good idea. We go check, and the game is over. Not great. Not great for the black side, right? So, yeah, I mean, that's one option there, right? Taking on d5. Another option is playing e5. And there's a lot of different things we cover in the course here as well, including d4, including knight to e4, right? Including knight fd7. Against this, I love the Spielmann Gambit. If black doesn't take, let's say they move the knight, look, you got a king on f7. You got a king on f7. If you do capture back, we're down a pawn, but the engine still says white is better. This is completely sound. This is completely sound. We play this move pawn to d4, advancing in the center of the board. And black really just has a hard time in this position. That pawn on e6 is horrible. It's just terrible. It's clogging up black's game. Very hard position for black to play. And yeah, I mean, as white, you know, I love this kind of game. So, and I do want to mention as well, going back to knight f6, right? A lot of these positions, there's different ways you can reach it. If you end up watching this course, right, really memorizing the repertoire, that kind of stuff, and you like this position a lot, you can start out your games with knight to c3. Black plays d5 nearly half the time against knight c3, which makes sense. But then you play pawn to e4, and your opponent probably isn't a Scandinavian defense player, but they are now. They are now. The moment you play knight c3, they play d5. They're a Scandinavian defense player once you play e4, and you're in business. Even following knight f6 here, right? I mean, this is the Alkhine's defense all of a sudden. This isn't the Scandinavian defense anymore. Maybe you played e4, you saw the Scandy, you're like, you know what? Or sorry, not the Scandy, the Alkhine's defense. Learn your chess opening, Solomon. And you play knight to c3, right? And black's like, okay, I'll play pawn to d5, right? A strong move for black, right? Solid option. Well, okay, we're now in a position that you e4 players can see. It's covered in the course, right? But we saw that against Alkhine's defense, not the Scandy. So there's a lot of different move orders and stuff that you could see positions like this. And then finally, right, in the final chapter of the course, chapter 4, we cover c6, right? Transposing into a Caro-Kann. Hardly played at all 4% of the time in online chess, but we can play knight f3 with the two knights attack. So much fun. And yeah, I mean, if we see the move e6, we can play knight f3. That's what I recommend in the course again, with the two knights variation. So much fun chess here following the move of knight to c3. And again, if you're interested in the course, all you got to do, plug in the discount code KNIGHTC3-2024, and you will receive 30% off on the course. Only good till the end of the month. And there's a lot of there's a lot of content coming out soon, right, that I want to make in terms of, general, strategies and tips in terms of how to play against the Scandinavian defense with this repertoire. So let me know which of the following, chess opening lines, gambits, all that kind of stuff that you'd really want us to go into. Okay, let us know. Let me know, and I'll get back to you on that. So, yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got a little bit out of it. Knight c3 against the Scandinavian defense. It really is a strong option, guys. Yes, I'm selling a course right now, but at the same time, I really do believe in this. I play it exclusively, and if I was playing against the Scandinavian defense in a tournament, I would play this move of knight to c3. Case closed. So I hope you guys enjoyed a lot, and as we, finish this video out, I'll throw you over to one of our instructive games in the course. See you guys next time. Here in our third game for this chapter, we actually reach the same kind of position, but a different move order. It starts out with e4 against the Alkhine's defense, in which case we have g3. Black goes, okay, I'll strike in the center. I'll take the pawn. And now we have bishop to g5. All right, bishop g5, black takes. We capture back with the bishop. We throw in moves here like knight f3 and queen e2, castle queenside. And this queen's got to be careful. We're looking towards bishop takes h7 with check. So black here goes, you know what? I'm going to block that queen, keep my queen safe. And we now have the move of h4. Now in the game, c6 was played, but I want to mention this idea, right? h6. First off, we're not worried about black taking. We're really not. If they do that, they're completely losing because this rook becomes a monster. That king is not going to survive very long. However, in this case, we can capture on f6. Whole idea being that if the bishop takes, well, we have queen e4. That square is undefended. Boom, we have a battery going all the way down to h7. We're threatening a mate in 1. If g6, h5, breaking things open. If the move of rook e8, we can throw in a check. We don't want to throw in a second check here because the king just runs and we're forced right back. So we can play a move like knight e4, bringing more forces, bringing more firepower into this attack. And yeah, I mean, this is according to the engine a winning position for white. And keep in mind, if black puts anything on e7 besides their king, the bishop, the rook, the queen, now you can play queen h8 and this game is over. Following this bishop takes f6 move, let's say the knight captures back to keep eyes on e4. Well, now the queen's no longer covered. We throw in a check, take the queen right off the board, and yeah, we have a queen. Black doesn't. Going back to h4 though, instead we have this move of pawn to c6. Now in this case, bishop takes f6 is still a good move, followed by knight e4 is what the engine likes. Notice that by taking this knight now and playing queen e4, black is able to play g6, and this pawn feels a lot stronger than if the pawn went to h6, right? By playing h6, black weakens that g6 spot, really making this bishop takes f6, queen e4 idea extremely powerful. So in this case, c6, right? We can take on f6 and play knight e4. We can play king b1, a move that I love to throw into my games. But in the game here, we have the move of h5. A very fun idea. I really like this idea for white as well, just pushing this pawn like crazy. Queen a5 is played. We now have the move of king b1. And here knight c5. So white actually missed this bishop takes h7 check idea. I probably would have missed it as well if I was, at least if I didn't have a lot of time on the clock. I mean, this is a hard move to find. Now, if the knight takes, sure. I mean, we just capture the bishop, and this rook's attacked, the knight's attacked. We're sitting at even material. We can actually capture that knight off, play knight e4, h6, attacking the queen. Black's in trouble. Black's in major trouble here. I mean, we have great attacking chess going forward, and if black tries to keep this position closed on the king side and plays g6, well, then the dark squares are going to be weak. So h6 here is definitely something that we want to pull off very soon. But going back, if the king takes, this is hard to find. h6, right? It just seems like after g6 that our attack's just kind of done for the moment. But we can actually play queen to e5. Great idea here. Double attacking that knight on f6. Now look, if you want to try to save it with the queen, well, thanks for the queen. If you want to try to defend it with the knight, thanks for the queen. If you want to move this knight somewhere like knight to g8 and defend that bishop and get out of that whole pin, well, then queen g7 and this game's over. So black there is in major trouble. Of course, in this game here, we have knight to e5, still a very active move. And after knight takes d3, how can we play the best attacking chess? How can we continually improve our pieces? By bringing our rook into the action. Rook takes d3. After knight d5 is played, we have capturing off on e7, h6. Sure, black's able to push the pawn and lock things up, but now the dark squares are extremely weak. And yeah, I mean, the engine actually really likes this move of knight d7, attacking the rook, eyeing f6. If black captures, we take with the rook. We got a rook on the 7th rank, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn. And black's got to be very careful about keeping an eye on e5 because of the fact that we'd love to play queen e5 looking towards g7 with a mating net idea. But following the move g6, we see this move of f4. And after knight f5, g4, continuing to attack, g5, locking down those dark squares, and now beautifully maneuvering this knight over to the f6 spot in just 2 moves, knight e4 and knight f6 with check. Now, technically the fastest mate that white has here is taking on f7 and then throwing in a check, and this game's going to be over. But after the move king h8, we have the move of rook d8. Very beautiful idea. If you want to take our rook, well, the game is over now. And yeah, in the game here, we have bishop a6, but in this case, knight takes f7 was played. and white won in beautiful fashion. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, it would mean a ton to me and my family if you could hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell, just so that you don't miss out on anything coming your way. I also wanted to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters for the month of November in 2024. There's some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member, and if you do decide to become one, I look forward to seeing you over there on the platform. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.